morning, everybody. 007. Spy analysis, the market basis on everything that is the stock market. Let's jump straight into it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we had a couple of questions. Wow, we're up $59 already today. That's incredible. Holy cow. First, right off the bat, we've seen a major jump. I'm assuming that's due to the NVIDIA earnings. We're up 68 already. Let's talk about what's going on right now. This last week, we've had a crazy run. Saw a major dip in the stock market. Saw three major dips in the stock market, if we're being honest. We saw this first dip, second dip here, and then this third one, which was the end of yesterday and related to the announcement of tariffs. However, NVIDIA earnings hit yesterday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We had a great turnout for the earnings. The Blackwell AI, which is the data center projects that NVIDIA is working on, and the product that's being pushed out to these larger commercial companies and such, really helped them top the earnings. And earnings hit. Wasn't as good as we wanted to see. It was kind of mixed, but it was good enough. And so I think because of that, we're seeing this initial jump in price on SPY, which is translating to money in the $30 option account. So let's talk. $30 option account. Right now we've got a couple of plays in here. Let's see what our live positions are here. Boom. SPY. Let's see. All right. We had a couple of calls going in on SPY. These were part of a 4-leg strategy I had yesterday that included calls and puts. We're down on 2 of them, up on 1 of them. Long story as to why, but basically each of these had a put that was with it too. And when we hit our major sell-off yesterday, at the end, I actually canceled out the puts, which number 1 paid for these calls, so these are just free at this time. They covered all these calls, so we're not actually losing money on these calls. And then number 3 allowed me to get this third call here, which is doing great. So ignore that. We're doing fine. We're up $66 today, and so we're doing great. NVIDIA earnings hit. That was good. The rest of the Magnificent 7, they're starting to trend up a little bit. Music too loud. Heard? We'll drop it down a little bit. How's that? Is that better? Also, wanted to say that I apologize about this morning in regard to the stream. We have been streaming since 8 a.m. However, YouTube was having some issues earlier today in that for some reason the stream was not being listed on the YouTube, even though it was marked as public. We were totally missing out on viewers. So we were wondering, hey, what's going on? Nobody's tuning in. There was one person who tuned in, and it was kind of like, hey, we don't know what's going on. So we stopped it and started it a couple different times. And then finally, on our 5th attempt, it started up and it started working. So that's good. Let's take a look at the market today. We started off with this major gap here. Generally, whenever we have a gap like this, we're going to see the price drop. Whenever it drops, it's going to fill up this market gap, this gap in between the bottom and the top, and then it's usually going to return back to what it was started at, if not go higher. So we are expecting a little bit of a drop this morning, just to fill that gap, and then we should see it hopefully run a little bit. So that's kind of our expectations for today. As you can see, we're a little overbought on the RSI because we jumped straight up here rather than building up to it. we go to our other times that's happened, let's see, I'm trying to find a similar one where we've had a large jump here. Boom, here we go. Started off the market here, boom, big jump, filled down, filled back up, built back up to where we were. Let's see another one here. A little bit different of a gap, but here we go. Started up with a gap, dropped down to fill that up, and bounce back. We didn't go on this one, we didn't go all the way down, but we did have our dip to fill that gap again. And generally that's just a recurring theme. If you have a large gap, it's going to get filled back up before continuing on. This one didn't really do it that much. Don't know what happened there. All right. Feel like today would be a put day. I don't know, Daniel. I'm not thinking so. I don't know. We hit NVIDIA earnings. A lot of good stuff coming. We still have a lot of fear in the market. So let's hop into the fear and greed. We're at 21 on the fear and greed index. So there's a lot of fear and greed. There's a lot of fear in the market, not as much greed. But generally, that actually is a good thing. When there's a lot of greed, we tend to see the stocks run up too high. When there's a lot of fear and the stocks are starting to push up anyways, that shows signs of a really strong market. And I don't know what's going on with that. Shows signs of a strong market and lets us know that, that move is pretty substantial. Also taking a look here at the S&P 200 and the 125-day moving average, we're about to bounce off of it again. So we're expecting a correction, and it's probably today or tomorrow. So I wouldn't necessarily bet against that. Yes, we've had some strong price movements down. Yesterday was a decent put day. I made, I think, $200 off of a put yesterday. Also made another $200 off of a call yesterday. So it's not really. So I guess the biggest thing is it's not really what you're buying or selling, but more about when you're entering and exiting those trades. That being said, the best way to make money is to trade with the trend, and if the trend is going up, I don't want to be trading puts because then I'll have a limited upside and shorter downsides. Longer downsides. Futures 598.5, not great. They were up a lot more in pre-market. So this is a little bit of a dip. They're up to 6,012. That usually translates to about like you could almost just take the decimal point and move it over. So this would be like a 60130 on the SPY, since they're tracking the same thing. Actually, SPY is tracking this, so looking at the news. Do want to take a look at this. I mean, I don't really know what else to say. I mean, this headline pretty much sums it all up. Exchange traded funds, equity futures higher, pre-bell Thursday amid positive NVIDIA earnings. That could really be that could be the whole stream right there. NVIDIA hit earnings, we're up higher, and so we're expecting good things to happen from that. Other than that, it looks pretty slow on the news. Doesn't seem like much is going on. I mean, it's pretty cut and dried today. We're going to trade sideways and then slowly tilt backwards until we're heading up. So This is interesting. This is a good. This is a really, really interesting article here. I want to read this. Bear sentiment up. Yeah. And generally, if people are just now getting worried about the stock market, they're not actively following the stock market. You see, someone like us, we're watching the stock market every single day. As soon as SPY dips, as soon as the market starts going down, we're scrambling. We're like, oh my goodness, we're losing money. Let's get out of our positions. Let's step back. Let's figure out what the market's doing. We know that investor sentiment is low at 21. Things are going to fall. We understand that. And so the fact that they're just now publishing this article, you're just now seeing people saying, hey, you know what? We could be on the door of a market crash. We could be on the threshold of a market crash. Those are generally the people who aren't actively watching and studying and, hey, what's going on? And you know what? They're late to the party because we've had our market crash. We've dipped. We've leveled out. We found support at 590. That's a higher support than the last dip or the last crash we had. So yeah, I know sentiment is low right now, but as the market continues to recover from this, sentiment will slowly start rising again. But right now, if we're buying in and we're buying those calls and stuff, we're going to be a little bit ahead of that. That being said, we still need to hear and see what's going to happen on February 28th when they release the PCE data. That's going to be an integral part of the full recovery. They need to hit. Shouldn't be hard for it to do, but they do need to hit. I'm not too worried about it. If we do have another crash, that's okay. Not too terribly worried about it right now. Here's other experts saying it's still a bull market. I mean, right now it's anybody's guess. My personal belief is it's hanging on the PCE data now. I believe we'll hit, and I believe we'll have a slow but solid recovery. So I think we're going to be good. Here we go. We're starting to fill the gap that we had at market opening. Once again, this generally happens when there's a big jump in price, which there was today. And there's no lead up to it. Usually it'll bounce, boom, then it'll drop down and fill that up, and then it will continue on whatever it's going to do. I also posted in the Discord today about needing to end a little bit quicker or a little bit earlier, just due to an appointment we have here. And so did want to remind everyone about that. We don't intend to cut them short all the time, but from time to time a situation arises that requires it, and today that is something that's happened. So just wanted everyone to be aware. All right. Now here's my thoughts with this. We know it's going to fill this gap here. What we don't want is for it to push too far through, because a lot of people might see this long red candle and be like, oh, the market's crashing. I think we're good on that. Yesterday proved we had a really strong support at 590, which we should be good on this. So this is an expected move down just to fill this gap. Hey Danny, hey MigX Design. How we doing today, everyone? I mean, anyone have any questions? Anyone want to, it's pretty straightforward today. Pre-market gains fake again, Frank. I think we're okay. I think it's just filling the pre-market gap. today seems like waiting for the death cross and then maybe call credit spreads. Hard to say. I'm personally more of the opinion that we're going to have a bit of a run today. We're just waiting for this candle to fill up the space. We've already had a death cross, but look, we're pushing back into bull territory on the 30-minute chart. So I'm actually bullish. A lot of people seem to have the bearish sentiment right now, which is understandable. We just had this long dip. So I'm actually a lot of people say, I don't know. I'm actually thinking that we're going to have a green day. I really am. We hit the NVIDIA earnings. We've got to lead up into the PCE data on Friday. We have a good chance of being green today and recovering some of that ground. We've already recovered some, but I think we recover more today. Look at this run yesterday until the afternoon where we had that tariffs information released. It was a straight up bull run all day. I think we see some more of that. Potentially hitting back up to the 200 SME, maybe hitting 604, maybe hitting past 600. Because if we can break the 600 mark, then we should be golden. It has been a week, hasn't it? It's been an interesting week. All-time high 613.23. All-time low 589.56. That's crazy. That's a crazy gap. Now I'm going to start at the beginning and I'm going to go backwards and just trace out each of these support and resistance levels. The first support level we have is 591.86. That's great news. Let's see, resistance up here, 599.58. That's not great news. We need to press past that 600 mark if we're going to see a bull run. Let's see where we got next. I mean, right there at the 593 level. Okay. What we're seeing here is this is an integral level here. It's a resistance over here, and if we can press past it over here, it'll become a support, and we should be able to use that to push up through the 600. The next one's going to be the 601, followed by, 607. We've got a 603. Yeah, we've got a couple of resistant levels above us, but if we can push through that 600, we should have an easier time pushing through those. So it's just a matter of time, honestly. Jumping back to the 5 minute, see what we're doing here. Still filling that gap. And this is expected. When we started the stream, we talked about how when the price opens up with a jump, the next thing we'll see is a dip down to fill this price gap. And then once it hits back down here, we usually see another pushback up. And so yes, we are going to see a morning dip, followed probably by an afternoon green. So it's never a guaranteed thing, but we are expecting it. We're also bumping up against the 200 SMA here. We've pushed past it a couple times. We got an upward trend towards it. I think it's a pretty safe bet that if we can push past this SMA 200, which correlates once again to it's a dynamic resistance and support level, correlates to our targets up here. If we can press past those, we should be able to bounce back off of it as we go up again. And so it's just getting through this first little candle area. And once again, you're seeing here, this is low volume. They're having problems. They sold off, and now they're having problems selling off again. They're winning a little bit on this candle, but we'll just wait. We'll just wait and see. Because I don't see this filling up. Once this is filled, I don't see it going all the way back down here. It could, but I don't see it doing that. We may see it do that, but right now I have a feeling it's not going to do that. What happened with this level here? I don't know what's going on with this. Okay. There it is. That's what that is. Okay. Personally, my opinion is we don't make it past this bottom candle here, the 592.44. I personally don't feel like we'll break that, at least in the first part of the day, unless some news catalyst or something comes out. I went ahead and changed up some stuff on our charts over here so that I could watch the 30-second and the 1 minute charts over here. And then over here we should have another chart. Well, there's the 30-second and the 1 minute. Let's push this over here and switch this back over to the 5. Okay. Alright, we're exiting a buy cycle here, or I'm sorry, a sell-off cycle here. Once we exit this sell-off cycle, we'll probably see a golden cross appear here. We'll see the golden cross appear over here. And then it'll just be like a trickle-down effect, or a trickle, I guess a trickle-up effect as we hit the cross on each of these in turn. The biggest thing right now that we're watching and seeing is this start of this buy cycle on the 15-minute and the 30 minutes. And I say that and it just shows it closing the sell-off cycle. This is good. If we've got on the longer term chart that this is going to be a turnaround period, look at the last turnaround period we had. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 candles, or yeah, 14 candles long. If we do the math on that, 14 times 30, 420, we divide that by 60. That was an entire day of green. So 7 hours of green. Boom. If we're hitting another one of these, we can expect another longer green cycle, or maybe even a shorter one. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times 30 minutes. That's going to be 240 minutes, which we divide that by 60, and it comes out to 4 hours. So we're going to see some green today. It's just a matter of time. And here we are. We have filled up the morning gap. So now we want to watch and see how this reacts. And on the 32nd, we've already got our first green candle coming in to push back that bear candle here. On the 1 minute, we're still pushing down a little bit. So let's watch. little bit more of a sell-off, it looks like. And this could be just due to the fear and such in the market. Generally, when people see a sell-off and they've just bought into the market, they may look at that and be like, oh no. Get really nervous, get really scared, and sell off more. That's just the way that things go sometimes, though. It's me. I'm people. That's funny. That's funny. You're right, though. Honestly, the market is made up of people, and you are one of the people. I'm one of the people. Everybody who trades in the stock market is a person, and all together we collectively make up the market. So these are real people who are buying and selling. These are real people with real emotions. And when you think of it that way, it kind of brings in this humanity into the stock market, where it's not just this random up and down, but it actually links it back to the emotional, the emotions of each individual. And so when you look at this and you see red and you get scared, personally, when I do that, I like to stop and consider, like, hey, if I'm scared, everyone else is scared too. I'm going to step out of the market and watch the charts. And when I see that shift in sentiment and things start heading back up, even though it's still red, I'm buying in at that point. Because number one, my buy will help make the market less red. And number two, if I'm buying in, there's probably someone else buying in with me, because they're seeing the same things I'm seeing. And then you see this green candle appear, and you see some more green candles appear. And then slowly over time, those who are more fearful, they begin to buy in as well. And what you get is a whole shift in the market, and that's just how the market works. And so, yes, we use these technical indicators, but you have to remember that each of these are linked to a person who's placing a buy or a sell order. And I think a lot of times we forget that, and we think, oh, it's just gambling. No, it's not gambling. It's, number one, it's business, but number two, these are all people that we're dealing with. It's not just random. And I think that's something good to keep in mind. There's a reason. Anytime you see a dip, or anytime you see a major move in the market, there's something somewhere that has either concerned a lot of people, or it has made them excited about something. And you can look through the news, you can look through social media, and you can find exactly what it is that made the market move. All right, we're pushing down. We've hit the 592.44 level. Let's take a look at our larger charts here. Boom, we're about to enter into a sell-off cycle, heading down toward the 30 RSI again. We did push a little bit lower than we thought initially. That's okay. I think we're still going to find some more. Yeah, looks like we're challenging that initial support level right now. If you'll remember, I said I didn't believe it would push past that. Looks like I was wrong, and we pushed past it by a small amount, but we are bouncing back up off of it, so nothing terrible here. Just normal market dynamics at play. Going back to the 30-second and the 1 minute, we're just about done with the sell-off cycle, and it'll just basically trickle back up. Personally, when I'm making a trade, what I'm doing is I'm watching the 5 and the 15 minutes. Like, these are okay, well, what are we going to do for the day? Okay, looks like we're in a buy cycle. Looks like it's a little bit of a sell-off the last little while, but we're going to head towards a buy cycle, and I want to buy when it switches into this buy cycle. So I want to watch for these two to line up on a buy cycle together, and then I want to look for my entry on the 1 minute chart. If I can get as many of these to line up as possible, generally we'll see a larger histogram versus something that's, say, a small histogram like one of these right here. And to be clear, today it is 9 a.m. I do have an appointment later today. In about 30 minutes to an hour. And so we may have to cut this short, just depending on where we're at and what's going on. We have pushed through that bottom support at 591. Now we're going to be watching it hit up against that secondary support level. I'll be right back. I need to go check on something. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. It could be a call kind of day. Could be. We're testing these bottom support levels. We've pushed through this 591.86 one, which is not ideal. Our next one is going to be down here at 589.56, or around the 590 level. That's a bit of a rough thing. Not what we were expecting today, but that's okay. I think we should see I still think we see a green run today. I think we've got plenty. I think we've got plenty. I do want to take a look back. Yeah, investor sentiment is rising slowly, even though we're going down. It is still rising because they keep seeing it bounce off of these support levels and resistance levels, and they're starting to see, oh, hey, you know, maybe it's not going to be as bad as it was. But there still are a lot of people who are scared, a lot of fear. So generally, when there's a lot of fear in the market, we're going to see a lot of longer dips and a lot of shorter bull runs. But all that could switch in just a second, and we could see a long green spike and just a run on up. Similar maybe to how we saw yesterday. I mean, look at this. This was yesterday morning. Had a major drop. Doom, bounced here. Initial run, another drop all the way down to this bottom level, and then all of a sudden we ran up the rest of the day. Small drop, ran back up, small drop, but that's a good, I mean, $5.96. That's a good $6 to $7 price movement up. So here we are, testing that bottom again, $5.91.86. One of the things that is interesting is you can buy these longer calls, longer dated calls. Like I bought one yesterday for March, and it's doing pretty good. Or was doing pretty good. Probably is not doing so great now. That's okay. It'll do great. It'll do great by March. I promise that. It looks like we might be at the turnaround period. I don't want to make a play too soon, but something you could potentially do would be like selling put credit spreads down at like the 590 level or something. You want to push them out a little bit farther than normal, just to make sure that you're staying safe and not just riding the line, because you get more premium that way, but it can also be a lot more risky. And this is just in from the chat. It looks like Trump has dropped more tariff news. That's what we've saw. This dip is from. So that's not just, that's not just fear from the investor sentiment surrounding Nvidia. That's actually a really good news, because tariff news historically has been super. It just hasn't had a big impact at all, other than in the moment. The news drops and then we pushed right back up. So I'm not too worried about that. I would be more worried if it was related to something around Nvidia, or, you know, some other piece of information that we don't have. That's when I would get worried. But the fact that it's not related to that makes me a whole lot more confident that we're gonna see green by Friday, or for sure going into March. And here we go. We're starting to get a little bit of support on the 5-minute chart. I'm assuming that we've pushed up already on the 1 and 3, or the 30-second and the 1. Yeah, here we go. We're heading for a golden cross. We've had a golden cross over here. Heading for a golden cross on the 1-minute daily chart, and I think we're about to see our run. I don't know if you can hear me, Frank, but I opened up 30 DTE calls for March 31st. Generally, when things start to go sour or south like we are, and here we go, we've got our golden cross just about made. We pushed up past that level, so we're probably going to see a golden cross soon. Jump over here, and coming up out of that, sell off cycle, 5 and 30. I have a feeling that we're going to be fine. This is the start. Here's where those calls would be really, really effective. Particularly on this chart, because we're so low on the RSI. We're going to run up to the top here. It looks like we may push through the SMA 200 again, just slightly. That just depends, I guess. It's hard to tell from right here, but we'll see as it interacts with the SMA 200 more. Buying a call now or wait? What strike for that monthly calls? Honestly, MIGX design on the calls, it's for 30 days. We're at a dip right now. Anytime is good. 592, 593, any of those are going to be good. They're going to be expensive, but they're going to be really good. And here we go. We've got the golden cross. You buy in now, and if you watch the 5-minute, we're going to hit a buy cycle, and yeah, at this point, we've got our candle. We supposed to buy now? I'm not telling anyone to buy or to sell or anything. You can if you would like to. Let's take a look here. We're starting to see interaction with the SMA 200. It looks like it's bearish action. It's trying to bounce back down off of that. If we can press through, then we'll be fine. If not, then I would probably hold off for a little bit. If you've already bought and you're in profit, you could start watching this right here to see when you need to take your calls, or I'm sorry, take your exit, take your profit. As we get up to the 70 mark and beyond, you'll see a little bit of a turnaround, so you'll want to start taking profit somewhere around that mark. Looks like we're going to push through the SMA 200 on the 30, and so you'll just want to monitor and watch for this green buy cycle to start to close. When it narrows down and it crosses here, that's probably when you want to exit. That being said, I don't recommend. I'm not going to tell you guys, hey, you need to buy this, you need to sell that. That's not me. I want to just teach you guys how to make that decision for yourself and how to make it accurately so that you can make money on your own. As it stands, the call I was making back here was that, hey, we've got a golden cross, and if you were to make a play, you could make a call play around this level. That is playing out now. It might be too late to enter at this time. Alrighty, and looking at this price action here on the MACD particularly, we're starting to see a lower volume, but we're still in the middle. Oh, he asked what strike for the monthly calls. Let's take a look here. When we're dealing with 30 DTE monthly calls, we're going to want to use the monthly chart and the 3-month chart. So let's actually do that. When using those charts, I like to do the 4-hour because it kind of cuts through some of the flak and some of a lot of the stuff. So let's see. Boom, we've got a initial 589. That's a big support right there. We're close to that again. I would hit those right there. Right there is the perfect spot for those calls. We got a lot of upside, but that right there seems to be the best one. Looking at this. 608, 609, 613. Yeah, 598 or 590 seems to be like really, really strong supports. Generally, what we want to do is we want to go to those supports and make a call right outside of them or right at them. So that's how I would define my strike prices. Let it get close to a support level and then buy at that support level once it rebounds off of it, which it's doing right now. Going back to the day charts. These we had 30 seconds and 1 minute. Alrighty. We're starting to come to a close on the buy cycle on the 30-second. How this is going to translate is we're going to see a sideways movement. We're going to enter a sell cycle once these cross over. We're going to dip down a little bit. And then we're going to resume once we go back into a buy cycle. So what I would do is watch the 1 minute, look for my exit point. We're not there yet. We're not at the exit point yet. That's awesome. We love a quick 20% profit. That's more than a lot of people have made today or this week. So honestly, though, right now, we're watching for the 1 minute for our exit point because these are so far apart. There's probably some extra profit in there. What we want to see is these come back together. So generally that's not going to happen these don't just straight line move down. It's this gradual curve. And so what we're going to see is this gradual curve. And a lot of times if you buy in the middle of, or if you sell in the middle of a buy cycle, there'll be this gradual curve and you'll end up missing out on a little bit of profit, say over here somewhere. That's okay because profit's good. And we like profit, so we don't want to do it. But I'm suspecting that we'll have a little bit more growth before we close out this cycle. What budget do I recommend to start an account? First of all, I recommend to start an account with a budget that you can afford to lose. So if that's $30 or if that's $5, start at those levels. Don't put $100 in if you're taking it out and you need that for rent payment next month. Just because investing isn't certain, and you could lose some or all of your investment. So whatever you feel comfortable with, put that in. Depending on the amount that you have, you're going to have a couple of different options available to you as far as strategies you can use. For instance, with a $50 account or a $30 account, I can't do some of the options that I'm doing now. I can't do a full credit spread or something like that. See, you just kind of have to work with what you have. And so on this one, we've grown this one to like $700 now. Now we can do like full on long calls on SPY. We can buy a whole call or sell, or we can buy a whole put. And that's going to help us grow faster. But until we have, the collateral to have $600, $700, we're not going to have the ability to do those plays. So work with what you have. Start with what you're comfortable losing. Don't stretch yourself too much. And Jair, if you're watching this, you can see kind of what I'm talking about. We're ending this this period here, and yet it hasn't closed, and you probably sold somewhere around here, and we've gotten a lot more growth. They're starting to come together now, but they're still quite a bit of ways away, and so that indicates that there's still even more upside. And so you would probably be at 30% or so right now. And that's why I would watch the 1 minute for my entry and exits, because you enter here and you exit whenever it starts to close. And if you exit too soon, it could have another one of these little things right here where it candles up. Don't tell me that. No, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to teach you how to invest properly and how to read the charts and candles. So generally what I like to do is when it crosses over, I like to see it confirmed by at least 2 candles. And now we're on a good sized run here. This is a really strong movement. And if I flip over to this 5 and 15 minute, we're probably going to see that we've entered into a buy cycle. Boom, there's our buy cycle. There's our buy cycle. It looks like we're going good. That's all right. You made money. You made money today. 2 1 minute candles. No, this is a 5 minute candle. This is the 30. This is the 30 minute. Oh, are you asking? Yeah. So yeah, we could not even have this chart. Actually, I like this chart because it gives us a little bit of a head start onto what's going on at the 1 minute. But I'm using my 1 minute to say, oh, I'm entering here, this level here. I like to see, okay, we've got a crossover. We've got 2 strong candles. Oh, 3 strong candles. Now we have a trend. They cross over. I'm buying. And we hold. Yeah, at least two candles for a confirmation of a trend. And now I'm seeing that the RSI is dipping. I'm seeing that we're dipping over here. We're still pretty strong. Probably just going to hold and wait for this one to play out. Okay, now I'm seeing a really strong sell-off. I'm going to watch these candles again real closely here. Boom, I see another level of resistance pushing back against the red. It's a green candle. Oh, now we have a trend. I'm going to be willing to sell now. If we confirm that trend on the 30 second and on the 1 minute, and we go to a third candle and it starts going red on the third candle, then I'd be willing to sell. But if it's just 2 candles don't mean anything. You need at least a 3 candle confirmation. Here we are on the 4th candle on the 32nd. Looks like it's a sell-off period. I'd be willing to close here for profit. Could we push past that and get more? Oh, now it's turned into a green candle. Maybe we would have sold off too early. Maybe not. Hard to say for sure. But what I'm watching for is boom. Okay, that's our 2 candles. Third one is green. If this one is if this one becomes red, I would probably hit the sell button. Looks like it's turning red. We're getting closer to a crossover here. Yeah, it looks like it's probably a sell period. So you could exit here and be happy. What we'll probably see though is we'll probably see one more green candle, or maybe 2 green candles, short ones, and then another drop. So that is my analysis of this. We'll see a small little green up and then a little bit of a drop as we go into the 5 minutes. It'll be trading sideways for a little bit, and then we may see another green run a little bit later. But as far as this is concerned, I think that would be a good time to sell for profit and call it a good day trade. But yeah, look at that. That was a strong little push. We would have made some good money there. I don't think I placed a trade. All right, ladies and gentlemen, at this point, I do have to leave for my appointment. We are going into a dip. I apologize for cutting it short today, but we got to do what we got to do, and I appreciate you guys understanding that and continuing to support us and such. So y'all have a great rest of your day. We'll see you next Monday, and yeah, look forward to seeing what the market does over the weekend so we can talk about it on Monday. That being said, this has been Free the Trade. I'm DK305007, and we're going to go ahead and sign off now.